Ashwati. Welcome to Talk2Ash presented to you by Switch2sports. Today with us our guest is a close friend of mine. We studied in the same college, though different departments, our paths have crossed more than often. So this is Sadhvika, she's a sports nutritionist. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the show.
Always watching a lot of sports, and my brother was into sports. But then when you go for sports nutrition, it is way more interesting because so if you go for a sports nutrition course, these are all the top leading sports nutrition like training on an empty stomach is just going to. So supplements, also using the right type of supplements is very important.
So she's the founder of Savi Nutrition. So she provides nutritional consultation for sports person and she also works with nutritional plans for diabetic population and population with hypertension and PCOS. So Sadhvika, despite a sporting background, how did you develop your interest in sports nutrition?
I used to play basketball, under 16 basketball in school. And then I also was always watching a lot of sports, and my brother was into sports, so I used to watch a lot of sports. And when I took up clinical nutrition for my bachelor's, I decided that it is also good to branch out to other sports specialities and other nutrition specialities like pediatric, geriatric, and there are also other things like sports and other specialities that are there. So sports is one thing that I didn't actually get into because it wasn't covered in clinical nutrition. So I decided that if I take this all upon in, I can also reach a better audience and help more athletes reach their goals.
So basically it's a childhood interest in sports that you want to continue in your career as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what exactly do you do for athletes? Like suppose I am an athlete who needs some nutritional advice. So how do we go about it? What exactly do you give back to the athlete?
Okay, so we follow a nutrition care process where we first do the nutritional assessment. We assess all the anthropometric measurements and then we go through the biochemical data. We also do a clinical evaluation to see if the athlete has any redness in his eyes or if there's any gastric issues that are there, because they sometimes do take supplements. So this can cause a little issues in the digestion and in the way they are metabolized also. And then we also do a dietary assessment where we take the food frequency questionnaires to see which all food groups they are using and which all they are eliminating, because if they eliminate a particular food group, they can get deficient in one of the other nutrients. So we do the food frequency questionnaire followed up with a 24-hour diet recall where we'll be assessing what they eat in the previous few days so that we can assess the meal timings, the quantity and the different food group including on a daily basis.
So that's the analysis part. So how do you go about with the intervention part of it?
Yes, so after we do the nutritional assessment, we give them a nutritional diagnosis. So what they are deficient in. So if they are deficient in protein, if they are having any symptoms of gastric issues, so we come up with a nutritional diagnosis. And then we provide a nutritional intervention depending upon, like if it's gut issues, sometimes we put them on probiotics. If it's protein deficient, depending upon what kind of protein they would tolerate better. Some people go for a plant-based protein, some people go for a whey protein. So depending upon their requirements, we give them the supplements that are necessary. But for the most part, we do rely only on food. We do not go towards the supplements directly because it is better absorbed, and for a long run it is more sustainable to take the nutrition from food rather than relying on supplements.
So for the aspiring sports nutritionists, can you tell the pathway in which that you can get educated and you can start your career in this field?
And when you go for nutrition, I would suggest that try to go for all the specialities of nutrition and not just focusing on one speciality. Like what I did was I did my master's in clinical nutrition, and then I realized that sports is also another thing that I can take up in order to reach a better crowd and to help the athletes. And sports nutrition also has better scope compared to clinical nutrition, because clinical nutrition they end up sitting in a hospital and working a 9-to-5 job. But then when you go for sports nutrition, it is way more interesting because you get to work with different sports and there are different athletes and coaches that you can mingle with and learn a lot more from them. they can explore all the different specialities of nutrition like pediatric, geriatric, enteral, parenteral. There are so many different aspects. So I would suggest to go through all the aspects that are there so that you can get a wide range of information that is there.
Definitely. And probably like choose which best suits for them and
Yes.
how they would like to work.
Yes, what interests them is also very, very important. Like I studied clinical, but I work mostly with sports right now because that was what I was affiliated towards more, and I had a more passion towards sports nutrition. So I decided to go towards that, but I also do clinical practice. Yes.
So for sports nutrition in particular, is there any certification that needs to be completed or that adds credibility to the job that you're doing?
Yeah, so you can get certifications, like if you have done another course like food and nutrition or diet and nutrition, there are so many other courses. You can get certifications from like NASM, or you can also go for the ASNFS, which is really good right now, and it's really like worth the money that is spent. So if you go for a sports nutrition course, these are all the top leading sports nutrition like ASNFS. It's the top leading sports nutritionists of India who are coming together to educate other nutritionists on the aspects of sports. And it is a very detailed course which covers all aspects, and you can ask them doubts, and they teach in a very systematic manner with like clearing all the doubts then and there. So certifications are also available which people can pursue.
Okay. So you must have worked with a lot of athletes, coaches. So what is one common misconception that you find yourself correcting? Like you feel that a lot of people think that this is the right way, but you always have to correct them on that.
Training on an empty stomach. Okay. That is one thing that I do not recommend. Like training on an empty stomach is just going to tire you even more, and it's not going to use the energy accurately. Okay. So when you train on an empty stomach, there are chances that you might go into fatigue, and the whole day you just feel a lot more drained. So I would suggest never train on an empty stomach, especially early in the mornings. Just a few nuts and some like a fruit with some nut butter or something like that, just to give yourself a start to the day. That is one thing. And also don't skip breakfast and don't skip the post-workout meal also, because you need to replenish your energy stores and the protein stores to ensure there is more muscle protein synthesis. So do not skip the pre-workout and the post-workout.
So talking about coming to workouts and training and competing, a lot of athletes use supplementation, right? So what is your take on that, and how far do you think the athletes are educated in terms of anti-doping? Because supplementation, yes, it is necessary, but how far do you think athletes are aware about the anti-doping practices in India, and how much are they educated about it?
Yeah. So supplements, also using the right type of supplements is very important, and there is no use in, like, if you are not deficient in a particular nutrient, you don't have to take that supplement. Like biotin, people just think that like if they have hair fall and they don't have proper nail growth or things like that, they just take biotin blindly. But then biotin is only efficient if you have a deficiency in that particular vitamin. Okay. So before taking a supplement, it is very necessary that you do consider consulting with a healthcare professional and seeing if you actually need the supplement instead of blindly taking the supplement. And with anti-doping also, it is important to know what are the ingredients that are not allowed in their sport, and what are the things that they are not supposed to take. So these are things that the athlete themselves should be aware of their sport, because unless they are aware of it, they are not going to get the responsibility to follow the practices and to also consider consulting with a healthcare professional to understand better about that, instead of blindly going through Google and like lot of influencers. There's a lot of misconceptions that are put around through social media. So going to a proper healthcare professional and asking them what is anti-doping, because most of them don't even understand what anti-doping is. So just get yourself more educated on this so that you can be more responsible with what you're taking in and putting inside your body.
So you will be working with athletes from different sports and different, from India itself, in every state we have our own food preferences and food choices. So how does this cultural diversity, how do you navigate through it? Because we are vegetarians, non-vegetarians, and we have food preferences. Some people have allergies and some people are having some dietary restrictions. So it's a challenge for you as well. So how do you navigate?
First, understanding the ethnicity of the client is very important, and also understanding what is their majoritively consumed food. Like most of them, if they are North Indians, they're going to take breakfast like poha or aloo paratha and things like that. But if they're South Indians, they're going to go with the idli, dosa, upma and things like that. When you respect their ethnicity, they are more likely to stay consistent and sustainable with the diet plan. So if you give a North Indian idli dosa every day, that's not going to work out for them because it's not sustainable for them. And if you give it vice versa, that again, it's not going to suit their taste buds. So giving importance to the taste and what are their locally and seasonally available ingredients, and you're not giving them too like high expensive, all of these high expensive ingredients. If you don't include more of that, they are going to be more honest with you. They're going to feel more comfortable with you instead of saying things like, no, I cannot afford this. So always go for the local and seasonal ingredients which works for them, so that they will also be able to establish some consistency with the diet plan, and they're not struggling to go around and get these ingredients which are there.
And also one thing I want to ask is, do you have any success story that some athlete that you have worked with, you really felt that your contribution had made a big difference in their performance?
Okay, this is like the first athlete that I actually coach. I was not even properly trained with sports nutrition at this point. It was between my course I took up this client. So I worked with an NGO where they take underprivileged kids from the slum areas in Chennai, and then they're teaching them boxing and sending them for the championships. So when I worked with this client, it was a pro bono thing. I just did it out of my heart. I wanted to understand and work with these children, because they definitely need this, and nutrition shouldn't be something that is lacking in them for them to reach their goal. That shouldn't be a stop for them. So I decided to take that on, and we were training her. Her name is Durga. So we trained her for around 3 months, gave her the proper nutrition, sponsored her all the necessary things that were there for her, and then she won the national boxing championship. She got the gold at Impal in Manipur last year. So that was a big win for me, and that showed me that I can work better with sports nutrition also. And it showed that many people are lacking in nutrition, and that's the reason why they are still struggling to be where they have to be or where they should be. So I decided this is something that I would like to do, and it gives so much happiness seeing them win. Even though you're not there, you're a part of their win. Even if you're a tiny part of their win, it makes a huge difference in their life.
Definitely, because a lot of athletes are on the threshold of winning, but something that is missing in them is definitely with sports psychology, I would say sports nutrition as well. So once they focus on that, it's like an extra added advantage for them.
Yeah, and they get on track also. So everything is sorted, so they are able to perform much better.
Yeah, so with this scenario itself, I can understand that you were working with the athletes while studying. So it was new to you, so it would have involved a lot of research and a lot of learning as well. So how do you stay updated with the current trends, or how do you modify the diet plans accordingly? Based on.
So with nutrition, everything is reading, going through research papers and actually taking down notes, because one day they say milk is the best thing you can have, the next day milk is the worst thing you can have. So just reading and updating yourself is very, very important, because you're not giving them old age advice that is no more valid. So validating your notes and validating what you're studying and knowing the recent techniques that are followed for each different disease conditions or different sports, that is very, very important, so that you're giving them the most updated science, evidence-based science that is proven, so that they're getting the best outcome out of it. So it's very important that you're going through the recent research papers, studying and updating your knowledge every day. Yes.
That makes sense. So once you're giving a nutritional program for them, I'm sure that it's not only the program that goes into, you have to also educate them about the benefits of it to gain a better understanding.
Yeah, counseling is very, very important with nutrition, because you have to create this rapport with the client so that they trust you and they're comfortable with you, so that even if they get out of the diet in a particular time, they feel okay to tell the truth to you, and they're not guilty about it or scared about it.
They should
they should have that confidence and comfort level with you, so that you are able to get the utmost honesty from them.
Sometimes you'll be working with an individual athlete, sometimes you'll be working with a team. So for sure the compensation will change. But on a basic level, say per month, how much can we expect that we will be earning?
So per month.
With respect to your career, how do you think a media company like Switch2sports can contribute to what you have been giving to the sporting community?
Okay, so highlighting on the